Hi, everybody. Let's see if I'm on. Another really busy day today. Day 1,734 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks. You know, like law enforcement coming and removing you, like those SWAT things, like they did to our home. They illegally searched our home without a warrant. um, to intimidate us, right? It was part of the intimidation. It was part of the fear mongering to silence us, to make us shut up and go away and just accept them, um, you know, murdering a beautiful life. I mean, um, they're really despicable. And, for anyone, and this person came on and made a remark. It was really a really disgusting remark about how it's over, that the Walmart case is over. The Walmart case is not over. The Patrick Crusius case has been closed, but the Walmart case is not over. And the Patrick Crusius um, case needed to be closed because Judge Sam, the most corrupt judge in El Paso history, Medrano, needed to have that case shut down. He needed to be shut down. He was running a circus, an absolute disgrace circus. And along with his golfing buddy, Joe Spencer, and his other golfing buddy, Jaime Esparza, for personal gain. They were very greedy, y'all. They were very greedy, and they wanted your money. They wanted your money. They and like, if you don't pay your taxes, guess who collects on your taxes? I mean, comes after you in El Paso if you don't pay your taxes, right? So they exploit you. They want the open checkbook. They make a circus, a mockery out of the criminal justice system, and make you and rob you really. It is highway robbery. And if you don't pay your taxes, because they get more and more brazen and rob you more and more, this legal robbery, right? We are the defense. We are the defense. We are the judge. We are the DA. We are the whatever, the AUSA, and so they think they can just get away with absolutely a circus, absolutely an open checkbook, millions and millions of dollars, greedy little sticky fingers for taxpayer um, funds. And so the taxes then go way up. And if you can't pay your taxes, right? If you're having, in our little homes, in our little cars, in our little lives, if we can't pay our taxes, so we pay for their Las Vegas trips and whatever, wherever they go, um, then it's Joe Spencer's company, or his firm, that comes after you. It's Joe Spencer's firm that comes after you. His firm has the contract to come after you for tax collecting. Isn't that just sickening? I can't even be it's just sickening. I just have to be totally honest. Um and so the Walmart case is not over. Richard's case is not over. It is far from over. It's just beginning, because we were able to end, because that Patrick Crucius case, they wanted that to go on to like 2030, right? I mean, they had a gravy train. They had a gravy train with that fraudulent application for appointed counsel. They had a gravy train with that. And they wanted to keep it going. I mean, they just delayed tactics. And the more they could delay, the more they could push it over to the feds without telling Yvonne Rosales. Keeping Jaime Esparza on the case for almost 2 years, they delayed it because they knew that he had that big conflict of interest that his sister was at the Walmart during the shooting and that he was called over there and he walked the scene, contaminated the scene. And, we've heard all kinds of things about all that. But anyway, uh, you know, it just delayed, and they were very, very greedy, millions and millions of dollars. And it's going to be interesting to see the open records, and um, it's going to be very interesting to see where the money went. How much money did Joe Spencer get? We know he didn't get nickels and dimes. He had an open checkbook, right? So he didn't get nickels and dimes. Um, he wanted an open checkbook, and we know that it's millions and millions of dollars. And so he is upset that that gravy train has now been, well, I don't know if he's upset. I would think because his golf social club and all of that costs money, costs a lot of money. And Joe Spencer's firm is contracted to, if you do not pay, they're a bunch of bullies. It's really organized crime bullies. That's what they are. They're absolutely organized bullies. And, get this, they're not even legal. So I misspoke when I just said legal. They're not really legal because the application is fraudulent. The DAs in the case were had conflicts of interest or were a usurper, or like James 2028 stamp, Montoya, illegal, illegal. The magistrate court, the judges not even being elected, illegal, illegal. The medical examiner, illegal. So they're not even legal. They don't even have authority. They are really like thugs, like criminal bully thugs that are organized crime, exploiting the people of the county of El Paso. And I absolutely can say that online publicly because we have the evidence that confirms all of that. We have the evidence and we've been giving it out. We've been providing it to everybody. The Texas Constitution is there for everyone to read. They can go and read where uh, a court that has full jurisdiction. And that makes sense, doesn't it? When you have a powerful court like that, the Texas Constitution, the beautiful Texas Constitution, requires that those judges answer to the people. And the way they answer to the people is that the people must elect them. And so they need to work for the people and that restrains the corruption, that restrains um, their their greediness, right? That's what that does. And Patrick Crusius was magistrated by Penny Hamilton, who absolutely did not qualify um, uh, as the law requires. And so from the very beginning, and the seal on, and the gag, and it was all illegal. Um, from the very beginning, it was botched and it needed to be shut down because it was squeezing and milking the taxpayers for millions of dollars. So we're very, very happy to have played a huge part because, like I've said, we have been very, very busy behind the scenes, and we've been riding a ride, documenting the crime, uh, while identifying the crime, documenting the crime, and then filing the crime, and filing and filing and filing. And so we're very happy it did not continue to be delayed, delayed, delayed to like 2030 or whatever, and squeeze more and more taxpayers' money, making the property taxes go way up and all that other stuff, and adding scrutiny to the criminal judicial system that's totally broken. So we're very honored to be part of closing that down, really closing that down. Now Patrick Crusius is in the hands of the state of Texas, with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And, we have absolutely requested that he be given a competency evaluation, because no proper competency evaluation was given all these years, almost 6 years. Um, so, you know, um, and there's more to it. He is absolutely in their hands, and we hope for a review of that. But um, the multiple shooters, because the evidence confirms multiple shooters, right? Even Austin confirmed multiple shooters. So, and of course, witnesses confirm multiple shooters. The um, the rifle that Patrick Crusius had, um, with only 30 rounds. The clip magazine, let's call it the magazine, only could fit 30 rounds at the most. The picture that was released to the public of him, um, shows him only with one clip. And the witness that I just recently put up said that he witnessed missed shots. So let's say, you're coming in, you have less than 2 minutes, because he had to do the shooting in less than 2 minutes, because he remember, Joe Spencer revealed to us that he surrendered 2 times. Okay, that he surrendered 2 times. And for that to happen, the amount of time gets really crunched between 10:39 and 11:06, okay, for everything to happen. So he only had about 2 minutes to carry out 45 shots that hit the target. Okay. That includes multiple headshots. So these are multiple headshots, and these are 45 shots, because we know 23 were killed and 22 were injured. But we know that Ernest Christopher Grant was shot twice in the abdomen. Um, and, which, okay, whatever. Um, yeah, that story is really, really crazy, and we don't buy it. Where I'm just going to be honest with you, we don't buy it. We don't buy Ernest Christopher Grant's story. Are we doubting that he got shot? No, but the way and how and everything, yeah, we don't buy the story. The story just doesn't. It doesn't fit. If the glove doesn't fit, the glove doesn't fit, and it doesn't fit. So, you have less than 2 minutes. Going back to our analysis with 45, 46, then we know that there's miss. So let's say uh, 90 rounds need to be shot for, um, because there was multiple people were hit multiple times. Um, there were multiple misses. So I think that we are being very safe to say 90 rounds. 90 rounds needed to be shot in less than 2 minutes. Well, that means that Patrick Crusius, severe autistic with fine motor coordination skill problems, like he couldn't tie his shoe when he's 18, didn't learn how to speak until he was almost 6, maybe after that, um, and we'll find out with the open records, but from the confirmations that we have gotten from Joe Spencer, um, and from Loretta Lynn Hewitt, um, from her testimony in the hearing, he had severe mental health problems. Of course, Judge Guadarrama, severe mental health condition. Um, so yes, he is. And if Bryan Blake Crusius would be interviewed, would be followed by the media and asked about his brother, we would have more information too, because he's been living in El Paso this entire time. He's an accountant, you know, um, and even criminals need accountants. So really, they really need accountants. So yeah, he's been living there, in El Paso as a CPA, and you know so going back to the scenario, so you have this weapon. It's not the finest weapon, this rifle, and it can, he only has one clip, 30 rounds. um Playing it very safe, he would need at least 90, right? That means he would have to have somewhere, you know, in that Walmart, maybe, he could change 2 of those magazines out, okay? Um, and this is less than 2 minutes, and these are moving targets, and this is with, a severe, you know, special needs individual, and, it just, uh, with with not puking. I mean, you're in there for the first time, you're shooting headshots and you're not puking. That's really unheard of. Um, and then moving targets, and then keeping your shoes clean and keeping your pants clean and keeping your shirt clean and not even sweating. And yeah, i- it just it it's impossible. Come on, y'all. It's impossible. And that's why we know there's multiple shooters, because of the witnesses, all dressed in black, M4s, um, wearing a mask, wearing vests in the mall, the case sealed, the gag order, um, the Mayellas, Fort Bliss, Fort Bliss being involved in this, and then politicizing it in order to attack President Trump, his supporters, his administration, to affect the 2020 election with a false narrative that we know is false. Patrick Crusius is not a white supremacist, is not. It's the most ridiculous thing, to say that he's a racist when his family is the Mayellas there in the federal courthouse, in the DA's office, in the Walmart cybersecurity office, in the FBI field office, and treating the mental health of the victims. And then there seems to be a real connection between, and then the brother is living in El Paso, watching all of this bloody hell going on, the destruction of our country. The Mayellas are the scum of the earth, y'all. Bryan Blake Crusius and his wife are the scum of the earth. And I'm being very, very kind. They're living the Saus and the Braus and doing their wedding and everything, while the victims and uh, the military and everything are, you know, are in bloody hell. Whistleblowers. I mean, they are there's, I wish that I can, it's just not in my nature. And Danae Katzen can absolutely tell you that it's not in my nature to be violent, to be, um, vindictive. She cannot say, and the same thing with Jennifer, right? Who took our t-shirts and sold them. And caught her on video doing that. Um, I mean, these people are scum. And we treated them all with the dignity, uh, you know, many more and many more. And of course, not Natasha Paloma from KTSM, total scum, because she knows the truth. Because Danae Katzen is absolutely connected to KTSM. And of course, her husband, Jonathan Caleb Ambriz, who the media wanted to um, cover for by just calling them scammers. And they are scammers. They are absolutely scammers, but it's much worse than that. And they didn't say who they were, that they're connected to Fort Bliss, 14380A Richards, Richards, right? 14380A. Um, you know, they didn't they didn't tell anyone that, just like they didn't tell about Patrick Crusius. They didn't tell that he went to West Point, that he was married before to a West Pointer, that he was trained in this data tech security world business, that he has very close connections to the Veterans Administration, that he went to Sandra Day O'Connor High School for criminal justice, that he's connected to Bliss Avenue and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. So not only to Richard's unit, but to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who absolutely is a fraudster, um, fraudster illegally taking money from the Walmart victims funds. This is the scum. This is the scum. Victims funds that people gave from their heart to give to the victims, that it just hurt them to know what happened. And it's not a coincidence that Danae Katzen is connected to her through 3905 Bliss Avenue, that Jonathan Ambriz is connected to her, that they're connected to Fort Bliss, that they're connected to the Veterans Administration, that they're connected to the businesses there, that they're connected to Danae is a well-known con artist, a well-known, and and she was in possession with Richard's credit cards well after his time of death, his murder. And it makes sense why she targeted us, less than 2 days after we arrived in El Paso in 2020. And, to mislead us, to lie to us, and, and Marlon Soto wouldn't call her in, wouldn't interview her, and we're like, why aren't you interviewing her? She has Richard's credit cards, right? Why aren't you interviewing her? And now it makes sense because they had a direct connection to Fort Bliss to Jonathan Ambriz. Um, and just allowed to continue to con and to scam by Sean Bernabe again. Because Sean Bernabe absolutely knew all about Danae Katzen. You're telling me that he didn't know that Danae Katzen was married to a soldier connected to Richard's unit, and he's saying we can't have another Vanessa Guillen. We've and ordering to obstruct and interfere with Richard's investigation, mislead the public. It's still like when you go to Google, they still are misleading um, the whole public about Richard's case. It doesn't say the DOD declared him in the line of duty, murdered on Fort Bliss in the line of duty. They're passing lies, false information. You have to come here for the truth about El Paso, for the truth about the Walmart case, for decent discuss, for uh, really a decent discussion and look into the case. Otherwise, you're just so misled and exploited because they're exploiting your funds, your hard work earnings by taxing you. Because of course, Veronica Escobar is involved in this. Beto O'Rourke was involved in this, still is involved in this. I mean, they weaponized this whole thing to attack President Trump. That's on record. And because they could not compromise Richard, and never forget that it's very, very difficult to be a whistleblower on Fort Bliss. The intimidation alone and the harassment and um, the weaponization of the UCMJ against our soldiers, the failure to follow the standard operating procedures in the barracks, the breaches of security, the allowing of the cartel to bring in the drugs and do the criminal trafficking right there on Fort Bliss, and you have Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe's assistant with. I mean, she does some tricks, y'all. She does some tricks, and it's criminal. It's criminal. And her husband's um in the JAG. His team's in charge of doing redactions. That's why they're so brazen. And she's out there partying with Eric. I love cocaine. I love cocaine. I know I love crack. I love crack. Johnson. I mean, uh, can you say uh, for the love of pink? Is it the pink crack? Uh, this criminal network is billions and billions of dollars, and it goes pretty wide. It goes wide. It's international, um, and because they could not compromise Richard, and he knew because he wanted to be CID, y'all. He knew, and we have um, been told of him keeping record, but the tampering, the obstruction, the interference with whistleblower Judge Roger Rodriguez, where he absolutely identified that CID was interfering in the case, was tampering with files, giving access to Richard's platoon leader's mother, Leilani Hart, um, and Leilani Hart having connections to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia and Danae Katzen. Leilani Hart has the Mormon connection, and more with Danae Katzen, Ambriz. And of course, Danae Katzen has the connection with William Molinar with Amber Chase. And if you've been following this story, you absolutely gag when you hear the name Amber Chase. She's the most despicable. She's just, ah, it's bad. It's bad. And we had to suffer through that for months um, until we decided we had enough, and we learned how to trace the burner phones. And we traced the burner phones and we turned that in. Um, and they went to government entities. Let's just say that, which also is such a violation of our due process, our civil rights, and our due process rights, and all of that stuff. And we are in the process of filing now. The time is right. This the case ending and all of the evidence coming out that shows that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe has engaged in treason, is the biggest traitor, is a cartel friendly, serving foreign and domestic enemies. Okay, the cartel is a foreign and domestic enemy. So it's time. And now with Jonathan Ambriz being a West Pointer, going to, and he didn't finish West Point, y'all, which is interesting. And going to Sandra Day O'Connor, criminal Judicial Justice Academy or whatever, being having the background that he has, and them not even the media not even giving you that story. That is that he's part of the Walmart case, the Walmart massacre and the murder of a whistleblower Fort Bliss soldier. They should absolutely have said that in 2024 when he was arrested. And him and his wife are both fugitives. And so this is an escalation. This is an escalation. And it's fraud all around, and it's national security breach 100%. We're sickened. And we will not give up. This is our country. And, the Walmart mass shooting case is not over, just like JFK is not over, right? Just like the Epstein files is not over. It's not over. And Richard's case is not over. So, so we really appreciate all the support and all the sharing. That has really been amazing. So, thank you so much. Keep sharing, and we will be back tomorrow.